Hello and welcome to this week's episode of On Deck with Avoya, your weekly travel update. I'm your host, Chris Greene, Director of Network Expansion for Avoya Travel. Thank you so much for tuning in. We really appreciate your time like we do every week. We have a great show for you today as there's a lot of things continuing to happen in the travel industry, and we'll touch on the major stories in our Eye on the Industry feature, including the latest debacle with Crystal Cruises. It's so sad and heartbreaking for some. We'll certainly discuss the latest information there. There's been a change in deployment for the Celebrity Infinity. We'll touch base on that. The Carnival Jubilee is open for bookings, and an iconic brand is coming to the Las Vegas Strip. All of that coming up in just a few minutes here on Deck with Avoya. We welcome in a great guest today for our exclusive Meet the Network feature. Dana Dziegiel, owner of Gypsea Travels, LLC, an independent agency in the Avoya Network, will be joining us for a great Q&A about all things travel, including some tips for you to stay engaged with your client base. Dana is a top seller in our network. Dana is one of the nicest, most open to helping, high energy travel professionals that I know. I'm proud to call her a friend, and we're excited to have her on the show today. We also have exciting news about an exclusive Avoya Travel event that you can attend. That's right. We're going to have details on our pre-cruise 360 networking event, and of course, provide you with the link to register coming up here later in our program. Well, since we have a lot of ground to cover, let's kick it off. This week's edition of On Deck with Avoya, your weekly travel update with some industry insights and our Eye on the Industry feature. And we'll start with the one that there's really no way to sugarcoat it. Things with Crystal Cruises are a mess, and it's heartbreaking for long-term travel advisors, not only in the Avoya Travel Network, but travel advisors everywhere. Stress about client deposits, stress about hard-earned commissions, about future cruise credits, you name it. It is a stressful situation for luxury travel advisors that sell Crystal Cruises. Here's what we do know. Crystal Cruises have paused operations due to problems with their parent company on their ocean cruises, at least through the end of April, and the river cruise segment through the end of May. Clients who have bookings for those dates will automatically have the cruise fare returned to the original credit card. Those who paid with a future cruise credit will have the value returned to their Crystal Society account. But what becomes less clear is what happens with bookings outside of that window, and only time will tell how that plays out. We're talking about an iconic brand with a rich and storied history in the cruise industry, with incredibly high satisfaction ratings from both the travel agent community and the public that travels with them. So this is a really unique situation that's playing out here. And with Avoya Travel and the way we normally are with all big industry events, we've been very proactive. Our weekly This Week at Avoya webinar that was held this Tuesday featured content about the best ways to approach your client with this news, how to best advocate for your client, featured a wealth of information on alternative offerings that are in some cases exclusive to the Avoya Travel Network and in some cases open to the industry at large. And these would allow clients to still enjoy a luxury vacation and of course help the travel advisor community keep vital revenue on the books. And that information was also made available in our community forum and highlighted in our exclusive Agent Power platform. And these are the moments that you need your partner to step up. And if you're not hearing and experiencing this level of support from your host or franchise partner, you really might want to consider alternatives. And we are always happy to have that conversation here at Avoya Travel to see if we might be a better fit for your agency moving forward. And we'll continue, of course, to follow this important story. In other cruise news, Celebrity Cruise Lines is changing the deployment of the Celebrity Infinity. Originally scheduled for a return to service this summer in Europe, Celebrity Cruise Lines this week changed that up and announced the Infinity would be joining sister ship, the Celebrity Equinox, out of South Florida for a summer of Eastern and Western Caribbean sailings. Now, this marks the first time that Celebrity has two ships sailing the summer in the Caribbean, and it's a sign that the U.S. cruise market is expected to be very strong in the summer of 2022. The first sailing is scheduled now for June 25th, and they're going to alternate Eastern and Western itineraries. Featured stops for all the sailings will either be in Bimini or in Nassau, Bahamas, and a stop in Key West, Florida. And the Infinity will then redeploy to Rio de Janeiro in November for its winter season sailings. Well, the new ship parade just keeps on rolling, and the Carnival Jubilee will be here before you know it. In fact, Carnival Cruise Lines opened bookings this week for the Jubilee's debut season in 2023 out of Galveston, Texas. Once it comes online, the Carnival Jubilee will be the third Excel-class ship in the Carnival fleet, joining sister ships the Mardi Gras, which had its long-awaited debut this last summer, based out of Port Canaveral in Florida, and the Carnival Celebration, which is expected to make its debut out of Miami later this year. All three ships run on liquefied natural gas, and the Jubilee will feature many of the same features as its sister ships, but will also include 2 brand new zones. Each of the Excel-class ships feature more than 20 stateroom categories, good luck with that, and a 3-story atrium on the starboard side of the ship. And finally, a longtime Las Vegas brand is coming back to Las Vegas, and this time to the world-famous Las Vegas Strip. This week, it was announced that Bally's Las Vegas will be rebranding as the Horseshoe Hotel and Casino and will be hosting this year's World Series of Poker, which is a bit of a homecoming for the World Series of Poker. You see, the Horseshoe was a longtime hotel in downtown Las Vegas, built by Benny Binion in 1951. It was Benny that was the creator, and of course, the Horseshoe was the original home of the Las Vegas World Series of Poker. Since then, Caesars Hotel Corporation has been involved, and they moved that to the Rio Hotel, and they took the Horseshoe brand out of Las Vegas, but they've been operating 6 Horseshoe hotels and other gaming locations around the country and the world, and the brand is returning to Las Vegas and on the Strip. The transformation from Bally's to the Horseshoe will include a remodel of the casino floor, the addition of new restaurants, but will not include the hotel itself, so the property will continue to be open during the renovation. Travel closer to home is going to be a big topic again for 2022. And again, if your partner doesn't have those resources, you might want to check and find something that works a little bit better for what clients are interested. Finishing up on that story, the renovation is expected to be completed prior to the end of May, and that's when this year's World Series of Poker is scheduled to begin at the new Horseshoe property. Well, time to transition into our weekly Q&A segment with a great episode in our ongoing series of Meet the Network features. We're excited to welcome Dana Dziegiel, owner of Gypsea Travels, LLC, an independent agency in the Avoya Network. And these features give us a chance to feature an outstanding member of the Avoya Travel Network, pick their brain on successful strategies for success, hear their advice on ways to stay current with your clients, and just get to know the members of our network in a more in-depth way. We consistently hear positive feedback on these features, and we're glad that you like them as much as we do. So let's welcome in our featured Meet the Network guest, Dana Dziegiel, owner of Gypsea Travels, LLC, an independent agency in the Avoya Travel Network. Dana, thanks for your time and welcome to On Deck with Avoya.
Hi, Chris. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Thanks for being here. Dana, before we jump into the current state of things for your agency, I was hoping you'd tell us a little bit about how you became a travel professional and what that journey looked like to become a member of the Avoya Travel Network.
Well, actually, I went to school to be a travel agent. That's what I went to college for. After graduating college, I actually decided I was going to change directions and become a sales professional. So 20 years in the sales field. One day I was booking a trip. I wanted to book a trip to Turks and Caicos to Club Med. I called Avoya. I got an amazing agent, Karen Wagner, God rest her soul, and asked her how she became a travel agent and working from home. She told me about it. I contacted Skip Fortier, and I think actually you as well, Chris. And 2 days later, I was in the Avoya training.
That all worked out pretty good. Yeah, I peeked at the file earlier just to make sure I remembered it correctly, and I'm glad to have been part of that journey. Before finding Avoya, Dana, did you do a lot of traveling?
I did, but I never traveled much as a child, only in my adult life. So that probably made me even more passionate about, I do a lot of family travel and having kids involved. I feel like there's so much education in traveling. So the answer is yes and no.
But now you're passionate about it because every time I turn around, you're headed somewhere different, which is pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, Dana, without a doubt, it's been a challenging few years. I mean, it's been a challenging week with everything going on. First off, and I know this is a little bit different than what we talked about ahead of time, but just to touch base on that top story, you've had a really strong reaction to everything going on with Crystal Cruises, right? I mean, this was a brand that you've been really passionate about.
Yeah, for me, there's Crystal Cruises is like my family. Love the line. I love the employees. It's heart-wrenching for me to hear what's going on right now. Crystal
Yeah,
family.
yeah, and that's the thing that you hear time and time again, despite the challenges that have been going on with the parent company and things like that, the customer satisfaction, the satisfaction amongst the travel community has always been top notch. So it's such a unique situation. Dana, when news like this comes up and you've got to reach out to your clients, what are some of the strategies that you employ as far as dealing with this kind of news with your client base?
I always try to keep an upbeat attitude about it. I don't like to be down with them and be like, oh, I'm so sorry. It's not so much like that. Things happen. So for me, I've rescheduled some of them onto different lines that, they're really wanting to go to certain ports. I've done that. Quite a few of them are holding out. I've done no cancellations for future cruises that I have booked with them. In fact, right now they have a promotion, maybe not so much a promotion, but you can book a cruise with 0 deposit down. So we've done quite a few of them, just hoping that they'll go.
I mean, that's all you can do is continue to be positive and stay on top of the information and be open and honest with your clients.
Yep.
Dana, with all of the other things that have happened because of the COVID situation the last couple of years, tell me about some of the things that you do to make sure that you and your agency stay top of mind with your client base.
So right from day one, I build a rapport with my clients. For me, it's all about relationship building. So I call in, I check on them, not for a sales call, but a simple, how are you? How's the family? Anything coming up? Are you interested in traveling? But if they're not, it's okay. We still just talk and we talk about life. So that's the most important thing, I guess, for me and in my agency is that I keep those strong relationships.
Sometimes I think people forget when we're trying to figure out all of these fancy closing techniques that sometimes just being a genuine human being and open and a good listener and in the moment is one of the best closing techniques you're ever going to find, right, Dana?
Yeah, for sure it is. I mean, I know in my agency, that's what I've always done, and it's proven to be successful.
It certainly has, absolutely. I saw a recent survey, Dana, that said 82% of all Americans plan to take a vacation sometime in 2022. What are you hearing from clients? Are they excited for future travel? Are they apprehensive? Is it a mixed bag?
Well, it's kind of a tricky question, Chris. I have both. With all the uncertainty that's going on in the world right now, some people are a bit apprehensive, but on the other hand, people are really excited to start traveling again, getting their lives back. So far, 2022 is projecting to be my best year yet.
I mean, that's a really positive step, and you must be excited about the promise of that. But at the same time, again, the double-edged sword, probably a little apprehensive to see that actually come to fruition, right?
Absolutely. We're going to project positivity and we're going to go with it.
Now, having started your travel career and transferred out of sales and then having your own agency, but being with the Avoya Travel Network for the last several years, are there certain programs or the resources that are offered by Avoya Travel that you as a business owner make sure that you take advantage of and find that they're just an effective way to help you run and maintain your successful travel agency?
Well, there's lots of them. I think probably the biggest one that I use is the live lead system that Avoya offers, where they give us live leads. Then the mastermind program, for me, that's been instrumental in my success.
Those mastermind programs, because one fuels the other, right? I mean, you have a program that helps you focus your time, your attention on ways that are going to drive the process forward. And then having those live leads gives you this continual source of new clients of which to apply that trade.
Right. And, Chris, I'm a huge believer in investing both in myself and in my business. Every time I attend a mastermind program, I'm investing in myself, my knowledge. That knowledge goes off to my clients.
I mean, that makes sense. I mean, that's what you need to do in order to be successful, whether it's this industry or any other industry. But Dana, it sounds like maybe you just kind of, as a client, ultimately led you to joining Avoya. But when you started that process and you said, hey, I think I'm going to actually take the next step and become a travel professional, did you have a list of resources you wanted to find out, or what was important to you as you did your search to determine, okay, Avoya Travel is going to be the right fit for me in the long run?
I prayed. I have no other answer than that. I didn't research anything about a host agency. I didn't truly know what it meant to have a host agency. I prayed about it, and that's, like I said, I ended up 2 days later in the training, and I've been here ever since.
And positive steps as you go. I'm sure it's kind of been like the cha-cha sometimes, right? A couple steps forward, a step back, 2 forward, the whole 9 yards. But as someone who's had a chance to watch your progress over the last several years, certainly a continuous momentum in the right direction for you.
Yeah, fortunately, yes. Yep.
What do you attribute that to? Is that just tenacity? Is that something that a person's born with, or where do you think that ability just to continually, build forward comes from?
I think probably surrounding myself with like-minded people. I surround myself with other professionals, and because of that, I've just continued to move forward. Those little steps back sometimes are really big steps, but if you believe in yourself, you believe in your industry, you believe in the host agency, you have nowhere to go but forward.
I think that's almost a trick that Vicky Fried, from our friend from Royal Caribbean, offers people too. She says the biggest corporations in the world, they have board of directors that help them and provide guidance and support and assistance. And you should surround yourself with like-minded people that understand and are going to be honest with you, and they're not going to just tell you the things they think you want to hear. And if you're smart enough to surround yourself with those kind of people, and we're really happy that at Avoya Travel, we have programs like through our mastermind program and through our brand sales and through our various events and things like that, where you can create those connections. But having that honest feedback is really vital, don't you think?
I sure do. Honesty is, I think that's the key word right there. And when I have troubles, with something, and I call another professional in the Avoya Network, they just always build me up, and they're honest with me. You know what, Dana, things are going to happen, and this is how it is. But we move forward. So I appreciate all that. I appreciate their honesty. I appreciate their guidance and their friendship.
Dana Dziegiel, owner of Gypsea Travel LLC, an independent agency in the Avoya Network, is our featured Meet the Network guest today. Dana, what advice would you offer to a new travel professional on some vital things that they should do in order to prepare for future success, but start that preparation now?
The biggest thing I would suggest is specializing. I can't even express how important it is, if you're going to be in the travel network, to specialize. There's no way you're going to know every brand, all the promotions, all their terms and conditions. When you specialize and truly specialize, you're the expert in that brand.
Yeah, making yourself the expert is a really vital thing to do.
For yourself and for your clients.
Makes sense to me. Dana, one last question about your agency before we ask a few fun questions about you, the person outside of travel. But what are some of the things that you're focused on for 2022 with your business? And as a follow-up, are you encouraged by what you see and hear about the future of leisure travel just overall?
Yeah, right now I'm really focusing on continuing education. I feel it's important to go to the mastermind events, to go to Cruise 360, to go and see different properties so that you know what you're selling. When you're, again, that's with specializing. When you're an expert and you can go to a resort or on a cruise ship and know what you're selling, you're helping your guests. And
And then
yeah,
go
I
ahead.
am encouraged. I am encouraged by the future of travel. I think that people just want to experience the world.
Yeah, I think so. I think these last couple of years have really driven that point home too. I mean, I like my house and I'm glad I like my house because I've certainly spent a lot of time here in the last 2 years. But I also love the world at large. And I love, like last year when I ran into you at one of the events, those are the little moments that pick you up and give you that little bit of extra strength to just keep putting one foot in front of the other.
Absolutely.
Dana, what about outside of running your agency? I know, being in the travel business keeps you really busy, but what are some things that you like to do for fun outside of being a travel professional?
Travel. I like to travel. I do have a 9-year-old son that keeps me extremely busy. I also have a 19-year-old daughter in college who plays hockey, and hockey's a busy sport. So that's what we do, and we're always out. I feel like we're always out going to a hockey game, and if it's not for my daughter, it's for our local college or a local hockey team here.
I love hockey, so I could think of worse ways to spend some time than checking out the local hockey rinks.
Yeah.
Now, we all know that travel perks are just a great benefit of being in the travel business. It's not why you should get involved, but it's certainly a nice byproduct. What about some places that you've been lucky enough to visit and amazing trips that you've been a part of because you own your own travel agency?
Well, I've been able to go to the Maldives. I took my daughter for her Sweet 16 to the Maldives. We've been to Tahiti several times, Europe, the Caribbean, river cruising, ocean cruising. I've been fortunate and very blessed to be able to travel quite a bit and go to some beautiful exotic places.
Yeah, every time we chat, I bug and say, hey, I want to just hide in your suitcase, and that remains true. Anything on the horizon for future travel coming up, say this year, that you're really excited about?
Yeah, I'll be in French Polynesia this year, hopefully for 14 days. I've got the Caribbean coming up. I have a river cruise in March going up the Rhine in Amsterdam. Next month, I will be in Mexico and then on a Virgin Voyages cruise next month. So lots of travel coming up this year.
Get that education in while you can. I mean, make hay while the sun shines. So,
for sure.
Become an expert, and that way you can provide that amazing service to your client. Dana, one last thought before we let you go. What's one thing that you wish you knew before getting into the travel business that you could pass along to those considering getting involved with travel and maybe the Avoya Travel Network?
I think we could probably do a whole entire segment on that one question, Chris, but if there was one thing and just one thing, I'll say it again, specialize. Your life will be easier, I promise you. If there's no other promise, I promise that. It will make your life easier and it will make your clients happier.
Fantastic advice. Dana Dziegiel, owner of Gypsea Travel LLC, an independent agency in the Avoya Travel Network. Dana, thank you so much for your time and for being a part of today's On Deck with Avoya, your weekly travel update.
Thanks again for having me, Chris. Take care.
Next week, we do a deep dive on partnerships, why they matter and they're so vital. And we're going to do that when we welcome Sarah Rich, Senior Partnerships Manager, as our featured Meet the Team guest. That's going to be next week. Look forward to having Sarah on the show next Thursday. So there's some exciting things coming down the pipe, and we're so excited that we can actually invite you, yes, you, to an amazing Avoya in-person networking event. It's going to be part of Cruise 360, but you don't have to actually attend Cruise 360 in order to attend this event. It's just tying it in together. So if you live in South Florida, or if you're going to be in South Florida and you're interested in stopping by, we would love to have you. We're going to be dropping a link to register here in the comments, but it's going to be held at the Hilton Fort Lauderdale Marina, March 29th. It's going to be a couple of hours in the evening, I believe 4 to 6 It's going to be a special event. We've got sponsors. I know Windstar and Carnival and Princess and Holland America, and I'm probably MSC Cruises. They're all going to be there. We have other sponsors still signing up. There's going to be a tabletop presentation. There's going to be members of the Avoya Travel Network. We'll be happy to answer your questions. I'll be there. Our Vice President of Network Expansion, Skip Fortier, is going to be there as well. So we would love to see you. And again, in the comments here, at least on the Facebook side, and for those who might be watching via Zoom, we can certainly get you a link. Just reach out to us. If you're in our network, we would certainly love to have you there. If you're not in our network, we would love to have you there. Again, it's free and open to all. So again, that's going to be March 29th, the Avoya in-person networking event. And we're so excited that we can invite you and have a chance for that face-to-face discussion, because not only these events, but all the other events that Avoya has that we're able to offer, it goes hand in hand with our whole offering to be able to help you, whether or not you're new to the travel industry or whether you're an experienced travel professional. We have reimagined the way that you can sell travel. And we have these programs and we have these resources, and you can gain access to marketing and technology, support, education, and so much more. You can be the expert. You can interact with people like Dana, who we just had on as our guest, and get that wealth of information, because we do have an open network that's happy to provide that information. And we do have the coaching that goes and makes all the difference in the world. So build the business the way you want, but we're more than happy to show you suggested best practices and all of the resources that have made Avoya Travel the #1 host agency in the industry, as voted by the industry year after year after year. So how do you reach out if you want to get more information? Well, it's pretty simple. My email, chris.greene@avoyatravel.com. You can reach out by phone. Of course, the avoyanetwork.com website remains the easiest way to get information on the network. You can get access to that FAQ right there. We'll get you in touch with one of our specialists. They'll be more than happy to have that conversation. You ask your questions, we'll explain our program. We'll see if it's a good fit. If it's a good fit, we'll put together a shared success relationship, and you'll be part of the #1 host agency in leisure travel. I want to say a big thank you again to Dana Dziegiel for being my guest today. Big thank you to Marissa Smith for doing a great job as our producer. I look forward to welcoming Sarah as our guest next week. I hope you have a great week, and thank you so much for making time for On Deck with Avoya, your weekly travel update. Take care, everyone.